Welcome to the Journey of a Singer with me, your host, Nick Pritchard. This is the podcast where we dive into the fascinating and unique journeys of those individuals within the creative industry. In today's episode, I had the pleasure of sitting down with West End star Jodie Steele. Jodie has led West End and touring productions of Heathers, Six, Wicked and Bonnie and Clyde. She was the original Heather Chandler in the West End premiere of Heathers. After much success in the West End, Jodie is expanding her career as an actress into the world of TV and film. In the podcast, Jodie shares her journey from her early years as a singer-songwriter touring with N-dubz to her West End stardom. Jodie shares ups and downs of her time in the industry and reveals her tips and tricks for upcoming singers, actors and theatre graduates. So sit back and enjoy this week's episode of The Journey of a Singer with today's marvellous guest, Jodie Steele.
Wow.
We're on. What were you saying? Can we just say that again?
He goes to the gym, everybody. Quite clearly with those biceps. I don't know how you fit that all in. I thought I was crazy with all the stuff I do, but you've just trumped me.
I heard you used to be a competitive swimmer.
How did you know this?
That's what I heard. Word on the street.
How did you know that?
I know people.
I was. That must mean you know someone from like who I grew up with.
No, I don't. I it's just word on the street.
No, this is too much. Tell me.
Well, I've got a squeaky chair.
I was a competitive swimmer, yes.
And then you had to decide at some point if you wanted to do that professionally or if you wanted to pursue the singing. Because also, you were basically a professional singer. I think you're the person that I know. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You are the only person that I know that's been a professional singer from such a young age. Like, you were opening for N-dubz and doing your singer-songwriting stuff.
You've really done your research, haven't you?
Like I said, word on the street. That's what people are saying.
Guys, oh my God. Wow, yes. I was signed to a little record label in Reading. I actually can't even remember the name of them. Tragic. And so that was from the age of like 14.
That's really young.
Yeah, so I supported N-dubz, Lethal Pizzle, I think at one point. Kano, do you remember Kano?
Yeah.
And there was some other one as well.
So old school artists.
Yeah.
But big, I mean, at the time.
Yeah, and I always had like two dancers with me it would always be two of my mates who I roped in with me to give it like in the background. So I was singing and I'd write a lot, and that was always something I actually really wanted to do, was to be a songwriter for myself and for other people. And that was the plan. And then at sixth form, Queen Mary's College in Basingstoke, they were like, oh, you should audition for drama school. And I was like, no, musical theatre. I want to be a singer. I did.
And now look at you.
Yeah, now look at me.
You've starred on so many of the best shows in the West End.
Yeah. So then I auditioned for drama school and I got into quite a few places. And I was shocked because I was really behind compared to those people who were auditioning for drama school. They've been doing that stuff since they were like out of the womb, and I was more sport, who could sing and maybe dance a bit. And then I chose Guildford School of Acting, and then my phone's going off, I'm so sorry. Right. It's very
shout out to Guildford. I grew up in Guildford.
Aeroplane mode. You grew up in Guildford? Mm-hmm. Well, you're quite posh then.
My parents still live there, so I'm back there every so often.
Surrey based.
Surrey.
Oh, darling. Yeah, it's a gorgeous area. I grew up in Basingstoke, so a bit further down, not as posh. Still
up there.
Yes, definitely not one of the nicest places in the world, but rep in Basingstoke. Yeah, and then 2 weeks before I was meant to start at Guildford School of Acting, I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to do musicals, so I kind of backtracked, much to my parents' dismay, and I auditioned for Academy of Contemporary Music, which is also in Guildford. That was a coincidence. And I got in, and then so I left my place at GSA and I went to ACM, and then GSA rang my house phone back when that was a thing. My mum picked up and they said, would Jodie come next year if we deferred her place? So I did, but I think it was a blessing that happened, because I would have really pushed the singer-songwriter route whilst I was at ACM, but because I knew I had a funded place, at GSA, deferred. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I should probably do that. So I didn't go hell for leather at ACM.
Because you knew next year you were going to be at GSA.
Yeah, I did. On reflection, I wish I'd picked one or the other, and I feel like sometimes I wasted a year, but I didn't, because I grew as a singer-songwriter, and I went to drama school slightly more mature.
They must have really liked you. GSA, that's competitive to get into.
Yeah, weird, right? Because I was not great. No. And I remember 6 weeks into drama school, a man who doesn't work there anymore, I won't say his name, he put me into a meeting and said, you've really got to back up your ideas, you know, you're really behind compared to everyone, and, you know, you need to dress differently, because I was, you know, straight out of Basingstoke, trackies, high tops, just a bit rough around the edges, and I just wasn't on the same page as everybody else, like, and he just said, yes, back up your ideas, so I did, and then I just pressed accelerate, and I've never looked back since that meeting. It's like, it really sat with me that I was so upset, because I'd always got good grades and stuff at school, and even though I was always on the cheekier side, I did always like do my best, so to be told that I wasn't was a real eye-opener, and like it shocked me.
It's funny how sometimes like, certain conversations hit you.
Yeah, it really did, and I always go back to it, and whenever I teach workshops and kids and masterclasses and stuff, I always talk about that meeting and how that affected me. And then from there on in, I just worked so hard. I took every extra class that I could, and you know, acting became my love and still is to this day. And yeah, I think I was like the first person to be signed in my year, which is just crazy. And now my face is on the wall. Again, my sources tell me you are who is this song?
You are the poster girl at GSA now. You're on their Hall of Fame as you walk in.
Which is nuts, because, you know, there's so many people in my year who have achieved so much. And I still think it probably shocks everyone that I went on to do. And I still shock myself, but it's weird because there's like 50% of me that's so shocked, imposter syndrome, what am I doing? You can't do this. And there's 50% of me that's like, this isn't enough. Like, this is nowhere near where I want to be. Come on, you have more to give. Give. Let's go. Like, push, Jodie. You can do this. You can, you know, keep going. And so there's that battle. But I think every grounded performer probably has that. You know, the 50% monster, the 50% angel. It's like, you can do it. Like,
it's an industry of ups and downs, though, isn't it? It's like when you're up, you're like, oh, baby, top of the world. Like, give me more. And then sometimes you can be out of work and thinking, why?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's tough. It's tough all the time. And musicals are tough. And the industry of musical theatre is so small but so big.
Yeah. Is it a little bit, I don't know if catty is the right word. I've not particularly been in that MT world, but I've dipped in and out of it with sort of occasional things, and I've always been fascinated by it.
It's why
I've always been really interested as to like, what is it really like in that circle?
Because there's a circle, isn't there? For sure. And hey, let's be honest, like, I think I'm in that circle. Like,
oh, you are. You're 100%.
And I have no idea how I ended up in that circle. Hard work, I guess, because I'm never the most talented person in the room. I never will be, never have been. But I will always make sure I'm the hardest working person there. So I will just put in the extra leg mile if I need to get to somewhere that I need to be. But the circle, what is it like to be in it? It's scary, and you feel like this. So, like, let's say if I go to an audition now, I can't have an off day or not be my best, because everyone will know about it and talk about it because I'm in the circle, right? And silent pressure that when you go to do a gig or a concert or a show, there is a certain amount of responsibility you have to your own name, to your own reputation. And if you dip that on a day or something doesn't go perfect, instead of it, you know, being brushed under the carpet and people not really noticing, it's very much noticed because they know who you are. And so you're meant to live up to that mark that you've set for yourself continuously. And I'm human, so I will fully put my hands up and say, I don't always. And then I overthink about it time and time again because I feel like I have a sense of responsibility to live up to, you know.
Because people are going to be thinking, oh, why is she in the circle? How did she get in the circle? And then you've got to show them, and or you know, what's so special about how did you get there, and all these kind of things.
Yeah,
and you have to perform that. Everyone has off days.
Yeah,
even the best in the world.
I have loads.
It's part of the job.
I have loads of them.
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that isn't in the circle? Because there are so many ambitious young up and coming MT grads that are really wanting to get their first roles. What would you say to them that are just making their way out into the world now?
Be patient and find something else in your life that you love and can make an income of, so that you take the pressure off yourself to live financially solely on that industry. Because not only are you putting your hopes and dreams on that line, you're also giving it the pressure of how your life is lived. Can you afford to eat? Can you afford to pay your rent? Can you afford to stay in London? You know, you need something else to tick you along and to keep you happy. So there's a nice balance. They don't teach you that at drama school. Of course they don't. Like, that's not the aim. The aim is...
They don't want to scare you.
Yeah, the aim is you walk out of drama school into Cosette and Les Mis. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it is a balance, and it's a business, and it's a juggle. And I think it's finding your juggle, and every single person is different. So some people might do their other job more than the performing job, and some people might be lucky enough to do their performing job more than their other job. But it's oversaturated. Everybody knows that. Me saying that isn't like shock. Everybody knows that. But it's the best, and there is just no other job like it in the world. And I'm talking solely musical theatre, because I'm not solely musical theatre, and I'm really, really, really focusing on being an actress now, rather than just the riffy, belty person there.
Have you found actually that your background in the roles you've done in musical theatre is helping your acting in terms of when you go for auditions, or do they not like that? Or
me personally,
neutral.
Me, like, as an actress, it's obviously taught me so much. I'm shaped as I am as an actress because of my craft on stage. But no, it doesn't help the crossover here.
Why is that?
I don't know. Why is that? No, I don't know. In America, because I have management in America as well, they love the crossover. They support it. You know, it just makes you a well-rounded performer out there, and lots of skill set. Like, you know, we see Broadway performers like Renee Rapp becoming pop stars as well over there. You don't see that here. You don't pluck a girl out of a musical and make her a pop star. We just don't do that. You either like, you are a pop star, or you are an actress, or you are a presenter and a TV personality. You are a musical theatre performer.
In this country, we really like to pigeonhole people.
We do, yeah. And there are some crossovers, and it normally comes with musicals when a TV person is a name enough to come into a musical and be a celeb in it. And of course, musical theatre people do move over to TV, but it does feel like you're either one or the other. So I'm trying to make that switch. It's really
I've been watching, one of my favourite musical theatre singers is Ramin Karimloo.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's been trying to do like the Holby City and those kind of things, and get
he's a lovely man as well. I think he's on Broadway at the moment, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he just re-signed as doing The Phantom, I think.
Yeah, he was doing it in Italy with my friend Bradley as well, so I kind of had the whole lowdown on how amazing he is with Bradley. But yeah, it is hard.
But even him, like, he's like yourself, top of the field in terms of musical theatre, and still he has to kind of go back to the start. When he gets these Holby City roles, it's like, oh, you're a cameo role here, or
it's crazy. I couldn't tell you why. It really, it's another battle to face. I'm ready. I'm like, you know, sword and shield at the go. I wish sometimes people could see past, oh, she must just be very big because she's on stage. Like, you know, let me show you if I've got the right vibe for the part, if I look right, please just give me the opportunity, because I might just surprise you. But yeah, I just want to play great roles and tell amazing stories, and people to enjoy it and to appreciate it. You know, people often say, like, do you want to be famous? No, I just want to be successful and known within my industry for what I do with the peers of my industry.
Respected.
that for me. If I do a good job, I think back in the day I would have really wanted people to be like, oh, she's such an amazing singer. And now if someone says to me, your characterization or your storytelling or your performance, your energy, the way you hold the stage, those things sit with me way more for me. Because I found that when I watch people, yes, voices, of course, like we have incredible voices across the board in musical theatre, but the thing that ticks it over the edge is the person that you remember is the person that got into your soul by telling such an intense story and becoming somebody else entirely different that night on stage, or afternoon if you're watching a matinee, that day on stage, and you take that away rather than what a great riff, or wow, that boy hit a great B.
No one's ever said that about me.
But do you know what I mean? Like I think because I started appreciating the craft of a package of someone who performs rather than just a great singer. It's about the way that they are on stage. It's just something about them. So I think if people are saying that about me, then I'm like, cool, I'm doing something right. And singing terrifies me anyway. Always has, always will.
More so than acting.
Yeah.
Is that because of the live aspect, like the live audience?
I think people, unless you are a singer, and you are, so you'll know, the hard thing with singing is it's so emotionally controlled and physically controlled. So depending on, the chemical balance of your body that day, if you've got a lot of adrenaline going on, you might not be able to control your voice as well as you could other days. Or you might be a bit dry, or you might have had a cold, or a slightly sore throat. Maybe you didn't leave the window open at night, so you're dry that day. You haven't drunk enough water, or you choked on a biscuit and now your cords are all like it's. And if you're stressed or sad or worried, the mental battle with singing is huge. And sometimes you can't control it. Whereas with acting, you can almost use how you're feeling that day and put that on a pedestal for whatever you're offering on set or on stage. You use how you're feeling to heighten whatever it is. Even if you're sad but you're playing a happy role, like it's almost like you can go so far because you're feeling so the other end.
That's a really nice point.
Yeah, and then there's a sense of complication about you. There's an air of realness because no human is ever just one dimensional emotion. So as an actor, if you're feeling something but playing something else, human beings, we pick up on energy, so we'll just probably connect more to that actor because we register that there's something else happening, there's a subtext there. That makes an actor incredible and human. And with singing, it's affected by all those things. Yeah,
and I suppose with singing as well, the genre of the song needs to kind of be in cohesion with your energy on that day. I've only ever lost my voice once.
Oh, I lose it all the time.
Do you?
All the time.
And I went to see someone about it, and I saw a few people, but one of the people it was the first time it was brought to my attention where this guy was like, oh yeah, actually it can be a lot to do with your mental state.
Yeah.
And if you're stressed at the time, and at the time I thought, how could that possibly affect the way that I'm singing? That's my voice. That's a physical structure. How can my mental state affect the fact that I've lost my voice?
It's crazy.
It's really, mysterious how it works. So that really opened up my eyes.
The amount of times I've been for a camera down my throat is insane. I'm always like, and I think, I don't know, because maybe because with musical theatre it's the same thing 8 times a week. Over and over again. It's
and big range as well.
Yeah,
You've got a massive range.
I've got a big range, and like I'm assuming because you said at the start, when I said about top B, no one's ever had a top B from me. Are you more of a baritone?
I'm a baritone.
Okay.
I go up to an A on a good day.
Right. So then you're already like not in that danger zone of, because everyone's top ranges is the first thing that goes, or their middle range, blah blah blah. Yeah. And for me, some days I feel like an alto. I'm a natural soprano, a mezzo soprano. No, I'm a natural soprano actually, and I force a mezzo soprano sound out of my body. And it's that danger zone, that the zone that's not actually natural to be hit in time and time over again. That is what I think makes, you know, our voices go as musical theatre, or, you know, it's just always our voice that goes first when we're ill or run down, because it's where all the pressure is so exposing, and you can't control 60% of your voice on a day, on a day-to-day basis. 60% of it is run by your body, and 40% of it you can control yourself. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. So yes, that's scary.
It is. One of the best things I got done for it, I don't know if you've ever tried this, I went to see a vocal osteopath, and
Got the camera down there.
no, this was where
they get
massage your larynx and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, why are you so built? Like, you're meant to be a singer. This is not good for your singing.
Yeah.
You've got so much tension in your traps and your neck.
Training at the gym and being a singer is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I constantly have to think about, you know, whenever I'm doing
like your shoulders down, not hunching up and getting tight
like
up here.
Anything, like just the breathing and releasing. God, all my PT terminology is gone, but the concentric part of the movement, whenever I'm doing
the breathing,
I have to think release, you know. And you often see the people lifting like because that's part of weightlifting. You're tensing up, you're literally tensing up the muscles, but the reality of that for a singer is that's not good. You don't want to be storing tension. You want to be nice and fluid. So that's why I try and do yoga and stretch it I do yoga every day
wow,
every day,
as well as other stuff on top of that.
So I'll pretty much go to the gym every day. I run a lot as well. I've done quite a few marathons. I'll do yoga every day. If I can get swimming, I'll swim, because, you know,
ex-professional,
competitive swimmer,
ex-Olympian.
I wish. So if someone says to me, "Oh, you need to be somewhere at 9 a.m," I know in my head I'm like, "Oh God, that's like a 5 a.m. wake up for me," just because I have a dog as well. So I've got to walk the dog, I've got to get to the gym, I've got to train, I've got to stretch, but it's the thing that keeps me so happy. And I'm very aware that for most people it's like, God, you're insane, but it makes me happy having that routine and just putting my health first always.
I'm the same.
I
can really relate to that. I haven't missed this year, I haven't missed a single day at the gym.
See? Freak. No. I'm the same. What are you working towards? Like building or?
No, well, I had this photo shoot 3 weeks ago now.
Yes, I saw it on your Instagram.
Yes, and I had to get to about 7% body fat, and I'd never been that low before.
God, I don't think I've ever.
That was really tough, especially the last couple of weeks, because I was doing all the carb manipulation and all that kind of stuff.
What calories? What were your daily calories?
Well, I was in a maintenance until the last 2-3 weeks where I went to deficit, and then even the last week I was on like a 2,000 calorie deficit, because I was doing the weights, and then I was doing the Stepmaster for 750 calories.
Devil machine.
And then I was only having chicken and like kale for that last week as well, and it was horrendous, but it worked. And now I've popped back to what I was before.
you can't sustain that.
It's so unsustainable.
Oh my God.
And I've never done anything I've never been that low body fat before.
No.
But it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing for every human to test themselves.
Yeah,
physically.
you should try, see what you're capable of.
Because, you know, we are so privileged with where we live and food and society, and just, you know, humans aren't meant to be this lazy with how we eat our food. Like, it's insane.
Well, I think you owe it to yourself to put yourselves into positions of stress and hardship, because our lives are way too comfortable. Like they shouldn't be this comfortable.
No.
And then you get complacent and you get lazy, and then before you know it, especially in this industry where you don't have someone, unless you're on contract, if you're off contracts, and the days can just fly by.
Yeah, they do.
If you're not disciplined, if you don't have a routine, then
it's gonna you're gonna.
And that's actually back to the first thing we were talking about. One thing I'd say to people just coming out is get a routine, a productive routine that has some form of exercise in, because that will keep you
always
on the straight and narrow.
And I have clients. I have 8 clients at the moment. On top of everything else.
Are these PTs?
PT clients, yeah. And I speak to them daily.
Wow.
And I really push them to points where they feel uncomfortable, but, you know, it works, because what we achieve is incredible. But it is uncomfortable for them, and they kind of lean on me lots of WhatsApping, lots of texting, WhatsApping for support, which I love. And I love seeing what they achieve. But you're right in the fact that scientifically, no one should be this comfortable and at ease with how we eat and live our lives, like pressing a button to get your shopping. You know, if you think like caveman days, like we had to run.
I know, just for like a bit of food.
But yeah, so biologically, like we're not at our peak anymore as humans, because we can't be. So it's too easy. Everything's made too easy. So I do think if you can put yourself in a challenging, stressful situation and achieve that, and then you know sit back into a comfortability a bit more, like what you've done, I think is amazing for anyone to do.
Have you seen Oppenheimer, the movie at the moment?
I have, yeah.
Did you watch it the same day as Barbie?
I didn't. I watched Barbie first.
Barbie first, okay.
And I cried. I cried at the speech about being a woman. I was like, yes, so true. So
my girlfriend was crying as well.
It's amazing. And I think it was just something that's so mainstream, worldwide, the most talked about thing of the moment, to produce a speech like that, and not in the most dramatic way either. She's just stood there like saying her bits. It's not like she's at a stand or is playing someone political. She's just a random woman in the film.
Sorry, I realised that looked like a real massive tangent, but where I was going with it was, I wasn't just randomly not listening to what you're saying.
Jodie, you're really boring. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
You've seen this film. What I was going to say, I saw it yesterday.
Oh, you saw Oppenheimer yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's incredible.
I came out of there being really like, it puts things into perspective, because the bar of our problems seem, as we get more comfortable in society, the problem bar goes lower and lower and lower, to the point where we're complaining about my Uber didn't arrive within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Or the my Instagram won't load on the tube. So I can't message someone because I'm on a tube. Obviously, you're on a tube. Yeah, it's crazy. And just, that's another example, actually. Cillian Murphy, for that film, I read somewhere, I mean, the internet, you never know. But I think he lived on like coffee and almonds for quite a substantial time, because he wanted to lose the weight, because he knew Oppenheimer was quite a petite human being and was just so obsessed with his work, like food came secondary, which is never the case for me. Food is always very much in the front of my mind. And that's the case of someone mixing two worlds there, that the kind of nutrition-y world, and putting themselves in a challenging, difficult situation for an incredible role in the acting world.
On another note, I would love to do something like that. Like, if there was a role that came up that was like, we need you to be in this shape for this role, I'd be like, bring it on. Yeah,
absolutely. I think preparation for a role is everything. Preparation for auditions is everything. And I don't think people sometimes give prep time enough of their attention for auditions, even just with script.
What about self-tapes? What's your level of like effort on those compared to an audition?
I love a self-tape because I can watch it and go, no, and do it again.
Over and over.
And I always block out like a good 3-hour window for even just a side, because I know that I want to look a certain way for it. I want to feel a certain way for it. I want a numerous amount of takes for it. I love it. Yeah. So
you'll put as much effort into that, if not more maybe, than in person?
Yeah. If it's in person and it's script, and they send you the script, the amount of pals I've got that will be like, I didn't have time to read the script. I'm like, why? Because, God, if they ask you questions in the room and you can, come back with a world of research that you've done, and an opinion on this character and the backstory and what is to come, like, that's just gonna just do so much for you in the room, because they just see as a director that you will have so much to offer. Yeah. So I always, just put the time in.
Smart. Very good. Is there anything at the moment that you're working on?
I was meant to be shooting a film right now, actually. I can't say too much, but it was a big old feature film. I won't say had, because I have a really amazing part in it, but because of the SAG strikes, I cannot film. So I'm in a bit of a limbo world, and some other bits and bobs are happening. up until Christmas, and I might be doing like a musical contract actually over Christmas into Feb, but then if the film shoots in January, so I'm in a bit of a logistical nightmare. My agents are a bit like, what do we do with this one? And I've only just recently signed with them. So
is that with the because you were with CAM for a bit, weren't you?
And they're amazing. They are amazing. I made a decision to move based on the pure want in me to do TV and film. Yeah. And everyone kept saying, United, they're the ones. So
I've heard they're good.
Yeah, they are great. Yeah. With so much experience, my agent has got literally 50 years worth of agenting. So contacts I can only dream of. I feel very lucky. When I signed with them, I said, I promise you, whatever you need from me, let me. That's
what they want to hear, isn't it? They need to know that you're on board and not just straggling along.
Yeah. My career is everything, and that's a scary sentence to say, because that's a heavily judged thing, especially as a woman, to say that. Particularly a woman, who's 30, like, oh, so you don't want kids?
Well, I don't think all women.
No, need or want, or it shouldn't even be a thing that you ask a woman. Like, you don't think to ask a man that when they hit that age, to ask women. I'm very aware that there is a time bomb above my head. But it's just not something that's come into my radar yet, because I'm so excited about the prospects of what I could be as an actress. So it just doesn't even like come into the size. I just imagine myself as one big bubble and little bouncy balls of babies hitting, just bouncing off, because it doesn't even come into my radar. It's like, well, I haven't even thought about it. So yeah, marriage, babies, all that stuff. Like, it's just not even in my world. It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a funny one, because I think generationally, maybe our parents and their parents, it was such a big thing. It was like, if you weren't married by 16, people were like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? If you hadn't popped one out by 18, 19, there were eyebrows being raised. And society is very different now, especially with the opportunity for women compared to our parents and grandparents. Back then, women didn't have the same options.
No.
So the prospect of having a child and having some purpose was far more appealing.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've got so many options in career and the choice to go down different career paths.
And it's such a funny thing, because until the day, I think it's about humans in general, we are so segregated by our sex, who we love, where we're from, what we look like, our religion. And until the day that the human race is just, oh, we're just humans. The end. We're never really gonna, level out as equality, are we? Never, because we will always be judged by those things. And even though we're all fighting for equality across that level, it's so grassroots across the world that it just, when will that happen? That it just won't matter. It just won't matter who you are, what you look like, what you do, who you love. Why is it affecting? So the sex thing, the men woman thing, it's nuts. And I didn't realize how sexist the world was until I was older. I think as a kid, probably because I was brainwashed to think that men are probably more superior to women. You don't even think you don't even think that you're going through that journey as a kid. But yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. My dad always brought me up to be like so business minded. And I always say to him, I'm like, it's your own fault you're not getting any grandkids. So I don't regret a single thing. Like, you are the way you are. And I just wanted whatever you wanted. And I think, it is weird. But career is everything to me. Like, and I feel like I've only just started again, because I'm trying to go down a new path. So it's like it's a new chapter. It's not even a new chapter.
So that new path is, are you stepping more away from the MT stuff and stepping more into the TV acting?
Yeah.
Trying. That's really interesting, because I feel like I'm doing the same thing at the moment as you are. I feel like I've done all these London venues so many times and elsewhere in the world.
Hamster in a wheel.
Yeah, and I love the TV and film.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's the
stepping into that. So we'll see you there.
I'm gonna have to flag this.
See you on the big screen. What is that? What's going on there?
The time.
Oh.
I have an appointment.
Amazing. I know we're strict for time today, but it's been lovely chatting to you.
I would have gone on and on and on.
I know.
Actually.
I feel like we would have probably ended up going for the 2 hours. But
I'm so sorry.
that's what it is. We'll have to do part 2 at some point.
We'll have to do part 2. We'll see how this goes down.
Yeah.
If you like this and you make a comment, we'll do a part 2.
This is the teaser. If you like it, let us know, and we'll get.
And then you can tell us what you want us to talk about.
Anything else you want to drop on before you have to shoot?
No, actually, just I guess if you're like interested, I tell you what, if you are a graduate, particularly musical theatre graduate, because I'm very aware of, even more so now, the influx of students who have graduated who don't get an agent and don't know what to do. I run an associate program because we touched on it way early on when we started talking.
Yeah.
And my new kind of branding for the project, yes, we do people, we run for people under the age of 18, etc. We will always do that, but our associate program is going to be aimed at people who have graduated who don't have an agent. They train with us for 6 months, and I put on a London showcase, and I invite loads of industry professionals to give them another shot at getting an agent even after they've graduated.
That's a great idea.
Lol plug at the end, but I was going to talk about it before when we mentioned it, and then we went off on a tangent. But
so where can people find more of that?
Jodie Steele Associates. That we have a Instagram page, we have a website, or you can just message me on Instagram and I'll point you in the right direction.
Fantastic.
Look at that plug at the end. I wasn't meant to plug.
No, that's what it's about.
But I just think there might be some, grads listening to something like this and being like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Well, there's an option.
And also, just as a little side point, some people are 6 months older than someone else. So that additional 6 months, they might be behind for whatever reason, gives you the opportunity to get onto the same level as what people who graduated and got the agent were.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you shoot off to your next one. I know you're a very busy lady.
I know, I'm sorry.
Lovely to meet you. And I hope our paths cross very soon.
Yeah, they will, I'm sure. Bye. Mwah.
Fab. Right, let's call it there.